Coming up this week, off screen, Ian McKellen takes on the last case of the great detective in Mr. Holmes. Jessica Biel gets literally nailed in Accidental Love. The boys are back in Entourage, or Entourage the movie, depending on where you're watching it. And Nicholas Sparks gets another adaptation in The Longest Ride. All of that to come and more off screen.
This is Off Screen. Off Screen. Off Screen. Off Screen. With the latest film news and reviews, this is Off Screen, the on-screen radio show.
Welcome to On Screen. I'm Van Connor.
I am Kase Allen.
So what have we got? Well, we know what we've got. So what should we start with? Should we start with Mr. Holmes this week?
I believe let's start with Mr. Holmes. Yeah, Ian McKellen. Sir Ian McKellen.
We've got to include the Sir Ian.
Got to get the Sir in.
So Mr. Holmes, which is the latest from Bill Condon, stars Ian McKellen as the, what is he, 93-year-old?
He's 93.
93-year-old Sherlock Holmes, who is now retired to Sussex. He's a sort of isolated farmhouse in Sussex, where he has dedicated his remaining years to tending to his bees and writing a memoir to set the record straight on his final case, which in this time frame, which is taking place just sort of post-war, post-World War II, his final case has become a movie based on the works of Dr. Watson, but it's Watson's fictionalised take, and Sherlock wants to set the record straight. So what we get throughout the course of the film is a series of flashbacks that show us what really happened, as well as a sort of in-between period in which Sherlock travels to Japan to investigate Prickly Ash. With Hiroyuki Sanada making an appearance as well. I know, it's great, isn't it? Okay. So Ian McKellen in all three time periods. Basically, it's Sherlock in, I think, his 60s, his late 70s, and his 90s. Yeah. We have a clip. This is Sherlock in his oldest period, in the Sussex farmhouse period, talking to his housekeeper's young son, played by Milo Parker.
Why did you do it?
Sir?
Break into my study. My study is my sanctum sanctorum. Private place.
Before you went to Japan, I saw you writing that story. I didn't know you wrote stories.
Oh, Dr. Watson, yes, he was the writer.
Well, so I borrowed Mum's key and went into your study, and there it was.
And how much did you read?
Just to where you stopped. It was a good part, too. A man comes to Baker Street, you say you've come about your wife. How could you tell? Did you do the thing?
What thing will that be?
The cane shows the marks of a dog's teeth. The wood is from an island southwest of Madeira. That thing.
And how would you tell that a man's visit was about his wife?
He wears a wedding ring?
When you're a detective and a man comes to visit you, it's usually about his wife.
So as Ian McKellen says there, if a man comes to see you, it's usually about his wife. So first and foremost, I was quite a big fan of this. I must say, I didn't. The advertising for it doesn't make the plot explicitly clear. It's an old Sherlock Holmes. You don't really get much more than that from the marketing. So, I mean, the interesting thing about it is, of this century, we arguably have three massive trends or fads or crazes. We've got the vampire craze / young adult literary adaptation thing.
Yeah, superheroes, is that going to be?
Superheroes is the other one. But then there's Sherlock. And Sherlock seems to have come out of nowhere in about the last 5 years, and it seemed to kick off with Robert Downey Jr. and Benedict Cumberbatch, and it spiralled into things like Elementary with Johnny Lee Miller.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But each one seems to be aimed at a different age bracket, and this seems to be the one that's aimed at the full-on adults, the grown-ups, the people who want a solid drama. And on that, I mean, it's worth noting that although it does succeed on that level, it's actually got quite a big cross appeal. In the actual Sherlock sort of fanatics are going to watch this and go, wow, actually, this is a really good idea. Have you ever seen, comic books? They occasionally do ones called The End. So you get like Fantastic Four, The End.
The End. Yeah, of course, yeah, sure.
And it's the demise of those characters. It's their final mission.
So is that what this feels like?
You could call it Sherlock Holmes, The End.
The End. Not a very positive title, though.
No,
I don't think people would want that.
Exactly. I'm not trying to insinuate this is how he dies or anything. It's not that movie. This is not the movie of the death of Sherlock Holmes. It's not that kind of thing.
It's the sequel.
That's for the sequel. Yeah. But no, this is very much this is in his twilight years. It's that sort of a drama. It's the retirement years of Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes,
golden years.
Sherlock Holmes, the almost end.
Yeah,
we can call it. Ian McKellen, casting Ian McKellen as an older Sherlock Holmes. It's a good idea, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Pretty damn
well,
good
we were
selling.
talking, was it last week? We were talking about him and his relationship with Bill Condon.
Yeah, because it goes back to like Gods and Monsters as well. But no, he's on paper alone, his casting is just theoretically hard to beat. You can't top it. It's the sort of role that you'd put down on a desk and you would give it to a bunch of casting directors, and you know that they would only come up with one or two names before they got to Ian McKellen.
Probably Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, it's sort of like, do we get Brian Cox, Derek Jacobi?
Michael Gambon.
Michael Gambon.
Oh, he'd be a good one.
Yeah, you get to those kind of things. I mean,
like an old curmudgeonly.
Until recently, Christopher Lee. That would have been a good choice.
Oh yeah,
that would have been an excellent choice given how
he was actually 93 as well.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. But I don't think he would have been able to do the younger years quite so well.
No,
but anyway, so. Ian McKellen's performance is fantastic here. I mean, he's always been, one of our best anyway. Here, he reminds you why. His Sherlock has the weight of the world on his shoulders. He suffers with the sort of the burden of, I see everything. I can't ignore the little details, the things that people can just walk by and overlook. That I process that, and I have to deal with it, and it's something that no one should have to deal with. And yeah, you kind of feel for him in that way, but there is also the curmudgeon side of him, the curmudgeonly aspect of him. And it does work quite well. You've got Laura Linney as well as the housekeeper.
Yeah. She's great.
Great accent.
Yeah.
Good accent work in this as well. She's playing very much the dowdy, middle-aged, sort of downtrodden housekeeper. But the real props go to Milo Parker as the young son, who's really good. His dynamic with the older Sherlock
Works really well.
It is. There is this sort of... not father-son, and I don't want to say mentor-pupil aspect.
Do you want to say granddad-son, maybe?
Maybe grandparent. Maybe
Great-uncle.
Kind of like that. Yeah. But there is this sort of aspect of Sherlock getting to revisit his more mischievous aspects of himself through physical youth in the form of Milo Parker's character. Bill Condon's direction. I mean, what can you say? He's always been a great director.
Steady pair of hands, always.
He is. Yeah. He's not one of the great directors, but he is a great director.
He's very workmanlike.
That's it. He's a great director, but he's not one of the greats. Is the best way to describe Bill Condon. It's a very considered, almost theatrical sense of direction, very well balanced. John Mosby, who saw the film with me, noted that you could feasibly have performed this entire film on a stage. It would have worked as a play just as well as it works as a film, and I'm inclined to agree with him. To be honest, there's a more fluidic, sort of constantly moving aesthetic to the direction of it, which, to be fair, fits with the mysterious, dramatic elements of it. He's got a very good score by Carter Burwell, I want to say.
Oh, I love Carter Burwell, yeah.
Did he not do some of the Twilight movies? I'm not mistaken.
He did, but let's talk about his work with the Coen brothers instead.
Let's do that instead, yeah.
Yeah, did the score for Seven Psychopaths as well.
Yes,
worked with him quite a lot.
As I say, I mean, it's effectively, it is an Oscar caliber film. It's very, very well written. It's very well directed. It's got a terrific performance from Ian McKellen. I say it's an Oscar caliber film with actual recognisable branding, so it's quite rare in that. I mean, a branded Oscar caliber product
happens very rarely, doesn't it?
Well, that's it. I mean, I found it to be moving. It's engaging, and it's actually pretty funny as well. There is quite a comedic aspect to it. Oh, before we finish, I should mention the supporting cast, which includes Roger Allam. And you always have to point out when Roger Allam is in one of these films, because Roger Allam is always a joy to see. And when he showed up, I thought, please let him be playing Watson.
Roger Allam is an amazing singer as well.
Is he?
Oh. He wasn't the original Javert in Les Mis, but I think it was maybe like the 10th anniversary he played Javert, and his Javert is amazing. Really good. So check it out.
Check that one out. It can't be any worse than Russell Crowe, can it?
Well, let's step over that.
Let's step over that. Right, so what we got next? Some film news? Should we do some film news?
Let's do film news, yeah.
Right. Okay, so this one broke yesterday. This has been coming for a long time. This has been years. Vin Diesel's reboot of Kojak
Yeah.
This has been a long time coming.
Got a new writer, hasn't it?
This has got a new writer who weirdly is a British playwright named Philip Gawthorne, whose more notable on-screen works include EastEnders of all things. And what? And he's going to be writing a big screen.
That's a step up, isn't it?
Where do you go for EastEnders? I'll do on Reboot Kojak with Vin Diesel. I think that's
It's always been one of the weirdest can it actually happen casting choices I've ever heard of. Ever since it got announced, and obviously Vin Diesel, he's always on Facebook talking about potential. Always.
Vin Diesel, like Schwarzenegger now, is very active in, you know what, social networking and action stars. That's a pairing that works.
That's what happens, yeah.
But yes, that's going forward. It's got a new home at Universal as well.
Okay.
Vin Diesel has a sort of occasional dalliance with Universal, isn't it? Because the Fast and Furious movies are Universal.
They're Universal, yeah.
I think
what was Riddick?
Chronicles of Riddick was Universal. As was Pitch Black.
Pitch Black was as well.
The one after, just Riddick.
Just Riddick.
Is that Relativity?
I still think that should have been the actual title.
What, Riddick?
No, just Riddick. Just Riddick.
Just Riddick.
Just Riddick.
I'm telling you, Riddick and his dog would have been the title for me. Right, the Bourne news. Have you heard the Bourne news?
I have, yeah.
Because this only broke this
Well,
morning.
there's quite a few different bits, really, isn't there?
Well, there were. Okay, start, because there was this one where this
It's got a release date.
It's got a release. What's the release date? Because I've not got this.
July something or other, 2016.
2016. Okay,
so shooting's going to be happening pretty soon.
But also, this is not going to be the Bourne Legacy sequel. This is the first timeline. This is the Matt Damon continuity.
Yeah.
Right. So we have now as well that Julia Stiles is returning for it.
Yes.
Having had her role bumped up in Bourne Ultimatum, I think it was.
Yeah, it was.
And now Viggo Mortensen.
Yeah, the bad guy, apparently. Big bad. So I've heard.
Yeah, he is, isn't it? Viggo Mortensen's going to be the villain. Actually, I could see that, because we've already had Carl Urban, haven't we? Carl Urban was one, and I can't remember who the others were. When Brian Cox was obviously the big villain of the series, who was the villain of the third one?
I can't remember. It's been a long time.
Right, so okay, not Vin Diesel, Bruce Willis's. I get confused.
Kojak on my brain. Just got bald guys on my brain.
I've got bold action stars on the brain. That's right. Bruce Willis's noir detective comedy is coming up. Have you heard about this one?
I have not heard about this one.
This is going to be apparently like a noir detective satire / parody. No one can seem to make up a mind on which one it is, parody or satire.
Okay.
And it's now going to be adding to its cast. These are all in talks now. Famke Janssen, Thomas Middleditch from Silicon Valley, which I'm very happy about.
Him.
I like him. I want to see him in more things.
Wolf of Wall Street for like a split second.
Yeah, he gets his goldfish eaten, doesn't he?
He's that guy.
He's the guy whose goldfish is eaten by Jonah Hill. And Jason Momoa, who's going to be a leader of a gang in it. So that one,
That's got my attention, yeah.
Momoa's getting around the crowds. He did the Stallone movie, didn't he? He did Bullet to the Head.
Head.
He did the Stallone movie, so now he's got to do Bruce Willis. He's only got Schwarzenegger left to go now, I think, as well.
Bullet to the Head has one of my favourite recent action one-liners.
Go on, what's that?
He shoots Christian Slater in the head, and his partner says, "You can't do that," and Stallone goes, "I just did." It's amazing.
For me, it's got that great moment when you're expected to believe that Sarah Shahi could be Stallone's daughter, but let's
you got to suspend
credibility.
Belief.
Did you know that the Sun Kang role was originally meant to be Thomas Jane in that film?
Really?
That was meant to be Thomas Jane. Yeah.
Wow.
Go figure.
Can't see that.
Comic-Con this year. That's coming up in about a month. Comic-Con.
Nobody's going, apparently.
Nobody's going.
Nobody's going. It's got to be Warner's. It's got to be one of us.
Yeah, it's pretty much Batman, Superman, and Suicide Squad. That's it. That's all you get for film content. Paramount are skipping it. Sony are skipping it.
Yeah.
Marvel are skipping it. Now, the excuse being used is, you know what, the film cycle is just not helpful to it. We've not really got anything we can tie into it at the right time. You're thinking, yeah, but in the case of Marvel, their cycle doesn't change. Their cycle's been the same for years.
You have something around April, May time. You have something later on in the year.
Yeah, so the one that's coming later on in the year, you usually show stuff from. So in this case, shouldn't Comic-Con be showing stuff from Civil War? Or because Civil War's mid-filming, isn't it?
Well, yeah,
as far as I know,
it's been filming for a couple of weeks now.
They'll put it this way: they could have a teaser if they wanted to. Pretty easy. They could have a teaser out there. But they're not going to do it, and the actual reason that's being sort of filtered through the grapevine is that this is sort of representative of the bursting of the bubble, as it were. There's now a conscious distancing between the studios and this very involved geek culture.
It's become so competitive over the years.
Do you remember when Comic-Con used to be about comics?
Comics.
Which way though, Marvel TV is still going. So the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. panel and the Agent Carter panel still happening.
Oh yeah. Well, I think another reason is obviously when Marvel announced Phase 3, that was their own sort of mini conference.
I think that's it. They went for the Apple-style keynote.
I think they'll just do keynote-style speeches.
I think so.
Yeah.
That was made funnier by DC's one. I think, was it a week later, where they...
It was a week before.
Oh, it was a week before.
It was a week prior, and they released everything they were going to do, and everyone was like, DC are finally stepping up the game, and then Marvel were like, hi guys.
It was a room full of investment bankers, wasn't it? Yeah. It's just a man in a suit. And
proper film fans. Yeah.
Yes. Here is our PowerPoint presentation. In 2018 Q1 we will be releasing into Q2 Q3 will be releasing. Marvel came out and did the keynote. Oh, and one more thing.
Yeah.
And they literally did one more thing.
And then Chris Evans and literally one more thing.
They literally did one more thing. Civil War.
Was Kevin Feige wearing like a turtleneck as well? I wish that he was.
He should have done it. He should have done it in costume. It would have been great.
Ball cap and a lot.
More bits than Passengers. Do you know this movie, Passengers?
I know that it's costing a ridiculous amount of money for what it is.
Well, this is a story. This is a sci-fi story. It's been on the back burner for a while. They've been trying to get it off the ground. Is it? I think it's it's either 90 million or 190 million. This is going to cost to make. It's going to star Chris.
More towards
190 million. This is going to star Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence as astronauts, basically on a colonization mission. They're on the trip to colonize another planet. They're in hypersleep for what will be hundreds of years. Chris Pratt's character accidentally wakes up after a malfunction and has to basically make the choice between dying alone or waking up, presumably the Jennifer Lawrence character, in order to give him companionship, knowing that she will, of course, die alone with him. But it's a case of, do we die alone together, or do I just die alone?
Just die alone, yeah.
Now, this has been on the back burner. It was a long time. Is it going to happen? Is it not? And then Jurassic World hit. And I think we can say Jurassic World made a few quid.
Yeah, a few.
Little bit. I think Universal have got a couple of bob spare at the moment.
Well, it's now been disclosed how much money Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence are going to be making.
Do you know this? I was looking into this.
I know this. Well, originally Chris Pratt was in line to make 10 million, and now that's been up to 12.
And she's getting points off the back end, isn't she?
She's getting 20.
Yep, that's it.
And I think Morton Tildum is getting... I don't know, $5.
Well, that's it, because this is being...
That's all he deserves.
Exactly. This is being directed by the director of The Imitation Game. So, wow, there's some pedigree in this. But the interesting experiment is their star power enough to carry this film? That's the interesting one.
That's it. I think a lot of people, a lot of casting directors, a lot of studios have wanted to get them together. Definitely. I mean,
I think so.
Arguably the highest profile young actress and arguably the highest profile male actor together in a film. Absolutely.
So because Valentine's Day and New Year's Eve were such riveting romantic comedy anthology movies,
what's now?
We've got another one coming. We've got a Christmas themed one coming out next year. I don't know if you know about this. It's going to be an anthology of stories. It's going to be co-written by several young adult authors and John Green of The Fault in Our Stars and Paper Town.
He doesn't need to work, does he?
He doesn't need to work at all. This is going to be called Let It Snow. And this is going to be released on December 6th, 2016. So, you know what? If you're a high-end, I would say a higher-paid young TV actor or a lower-paid movie actor, you've probably got a spot in this one. This is for the Ashton Kutchers of the world, really. That's what I would say.
Do you remember seeing the poster for New Year's Day? It was one of those posters... New Year's Eve, that's what. Yeah. I apologise. Frank Marshall fans. Not Frank, you know what I mean. So it had it was like a composite of loads of different people's faces.
That was the one.
From the film. And then Ashton Kutcher's, it wasn't a picture of him from the film, it was from just like a red carpet shot, and it looks so weird and just
wasn't just like a production still from 2.5 Men.
It might as well have been.
Right, I like this one. Kenneth Branagh is being courted to direct the latest adaptation of Murder on the Orient Express. How awesome is that?
Perfect.
That could be great. Kenneth Branagh, Hercule Poirot.
I'm completely
Am I right in thinking the David Suchet series only recently did Murder on the Orient Express?
It was only recently, I believe, yeah.
Because it's quite late in the continuity, isn't it?
I'd love to see David Suchet work with Kenneth Branagh. That'd be brilliant.
Right. Dark Places, are you aware of this film? This is the latest adaptation of a Gillian Flynn work. Gillian Flynn, of course, brought us...
Charlie's...
Yeah. Gillian Flynn brought us Gone Girl. And this is not the actual follow-up, but sort of the source material follow-up to it. And this has been released on video on demand now. This is out now, 7 weeks before its actual theatrical release.
Yeah.
So if you want to pay and watch it at home, you can. Now, I actually like this idea. I think this could be a good thing. Maybe not for the likes of the Avengers and Jurassic World, but your thrillers and your dramas and things like that. Great idea. Why not? It's going out through DirecTV in the States. So
I think a lot of people, those kind of films, they don't necessarily need to be seen on the big screen, depending on what they are. I mean,
not really. And also, we live in a day and age now where most of us have 40, 50-inch
that's it, yeah.
slabs on our wall and home cinema systems.
Yeah, bigger screens are in some of the cinemas, so...
I've been to an Odeon recently, yeah.
I knew that's what you were going to say.
We've been to the Odeon in Sheffield. The Odeon in Sheffield is ridiculously tiny.
I had a good time, though, when I watched Spyville last week. I really enjoyed it.
Right, Forrest Whitaker is in talks
Oh, yeah.
to join
All the franchises.
all the franchises. So he's in talks to join The Crow, which there's more news about that one later. He's also in talks to join Star Wars Rogue One.
Yeah.
How awesome's that?
That's cool.
But
I'm completely on board with it.
that is, I quite like that idea. But
Who would he... The only person for The Crow I could think he would play was that police officer
would
guy.
be the cop,
Would be
the
cop,
Ernie
yeah.
Hudson role in the film.
Yeah,
the
of
first
course,
version, yeah. Halloween Returns, we've got this as well. This is the latest reboot for the Halloween franchise, which is going to be coming out without the involvement of Rob Zombie. Because apparently they listened to us. They listened to all the fans who said, do you know what, we're perfectly fine with it, but please never let Rob Zombie make another Halloween movie again. I'll take the first one, fine. H2 is awful.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Well, just calling it H2 was awful in itself.
But Rob Zombie,
But yeah,
have you heard about...
I have heard.
Is that coming up?
That's coming up as well.
Coming up. Just a tease.
We've got a couple of final pieces. Woody Harrelson is going to be playing the 36th President of the United States. Lyndon B. Johnson.
With Rob Reiner.
With Rob Reiner
who's
directing.
Probably one of my favourite directors of all time.
It's going to be awesome, isn't it? So this is going to be Rob Reiner's LBJ. I can't wait. That sounds
That's
awesome.
cool. Yeah.
Let's see. We've also got one final piece. Jason Mantzoukas. A low-profile comedic actor. He's one of those that you'd know from.
He's in The League and
Modern Family turned up in.
He turns up. Yeah, he's in Parks and Rec a little bit.
Yeah, They Came Together. He was in that.
Oh,
as well.
he's really funny, man.
He's the one who got kicked out the window in They Came Together. Well,
He's
in negotiations to join the upcoming suburban casino comedy The House with Amy Poehler and Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
Which, if you're not familiar with it, is the story of a married couple who accidentally lose their daughter's college fund and to replace it, open an illegal casino in their basement.
Great.
What can you say?
That's
got
a good
Will Ferrell,
premise.
It's got Amy Poehler. This is going to be great.
I think
isn't
those guys will really work together. Absolutely.
Yeah, I could live with that. Yeah. This could be pretty funny. So, on to the next review we've got on our docket this week, Kase. Shall we go with some Accidental Love?
If we've absolutely got to.
Right, I want to point out there is no clip for this because they have not made any clips available, and this is the reasoning as to why is gonna very quickly become apparent. So, right, shall we just do the plot first and foremost? This is the story of Alice, played by Jessica Biel, who is a roller skating waitress in small town USA.
Indiana somewhere.
Usual.
Don't matter.
Could be Iowa, Idaho. Really non-specific. Let's just call it John Watersville.
John Watersville.
John Watersville.
I like that.
Call it John Watersville. So she's a roller skating waitress in John Watersville who, whilst on a dinner date with her cop fiance, played by James Marsden, accidentally gets shot in the head with a nail gun. The movie was originally called Nailed for this reason.
Much better title.
It was a better title. Now, the nail is left in her head when it's discovered that she doesn't have insurance, health insurance, and as a result, the hospital will not conduct the costly procedure to remove it. The nail staying in her head causes psychological instability, which results in periods of heightened sexuality, anger, depression. Am I on the right track?
Yeah.
Basically intense mood swings, but it's sort of fixed mood swings. So she gets whacked on the head and she's effectively hypersexual until the next time she gets whacked on the head, and then she's angry. And so on and so forth. But because she's been denied the procedure to remove it, she immediately takes to Washington, D.C., to fight for the cause of a reformed healthcare bill that will cover the costs of procedures for what are determined to be bizarre injuries. Literally, that's the term used, bizarre injuries. And she enlists the help of a young congressman, a young sort of vacuumed moralist, I want to say.
Yeah.
A morally challenged congressman.
Morally challenged.
Played by Jake Gyllenhaal with the widest eyes this side of Nightcrawler, who agrees to sponsor her bill only if he can tack it onto the underside of another bill that supports the funding of a military base on the moon. This is the point where I would say here's a clip. But there isn't a clip because the distributors have not made one available. And the reason the distributors haven't made one available is because I think they're kind of hoping that no one notices this film exists.
Yeah. Do you even want to hear a clip? No. Nobody would want to hear a clip after that description.
So, 30-second history on this one, shall we? David O. Russell started making this. David O. Russell, of The Fighter, of Silver Linings Playbook, of Three Kings,
of American Hustle,
of I Heart Huckabees.
Great film.
Yeah, who started making this film in 2008. Straight after I Heart Huckabees. Due to financial instability, he was forced to stop and start production. Is it 4 or 6 times? Because I hear different versions.
I heard he was even more than 6.
Well, eventually he just gave up.
2010,
he chucked in the towel and he demanded they take his name off of it. He wanted the film dead, buried, no more. He washed his hands of it. The actors were sent packing. That was it. It has now been stitched together. The missing footage shot by anonymous people. This is the thing. Anonymous people. And the directorial credit is given to Stephen Green, who is in fact David O. Russell. But because you're not allowed to put Alan Smithy on a film in 2015, they had to put Stephen Green. He doesn't want the film to exist. The actors don't want the film to exist. And it quickly becomes evident why. This is a mess of a film. And you hear stories all the time about films with troubled productions. This is most definitely the one, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is absolute chaos incarnate. It's dishevelled. It doesn't make a lick of sense. Every performance by every actor in it seems to be aimed at a different film entirely. I don't know quite what Tracy Morgan's performance is for, what film he thinks he's making, what film James Marsden thinks he's making. James Marsden's really out there.
Yeah.
And then you've got Jake Gyllenhaal and the weird thing is, the closest thing I can find to a unifying idea behind the film is they all thought they were making a John Waters type film. Because there is somewhere underneath it the bare bones of a satire on the American healthcare system. However, it is really the bare bones, and those bare bones have been picked clean by, I think, all the financial raiding going on. There's very little in the way of coherent sense to the film. It isn't funny. It's got cameos by actors who really should know better. The likes of...
Why was Bill Hader there?
Bill Hader.
Bill Hader was there for
Kirstie Alley.
Oh, yeah.
Kirstie Alley as a at-home brain surgeon.
Yeah, / cow surgeon. And
she's a vet who agrees to operate on her in the comfort of her own living room.
Yeah. I remember the camera, it shoots from this really bizarre angle. And I just... it was incomprehensible to me.
It was. It's an ordeal as well, isn't it? It clocks in just under 2 hours.
Well, I managed an hour.
It's bad.
I very, very rarely don't finish a film. So, well done, Accidental Love.
It's not the worst film I've seen this week. The worst film I've seen this week is not for review. It is the FIFA movie United Passions, which I really hope gets a theatrical release so we can review it sometime soon.
Oh, God, I watched the trailer for it yesterday.
It's a masterpiece of awful. It is worse than Accidental Love, but Accidental Love is genuinely the worst film out this week.
Yeah.
So, right, competitions then, before we cut to the break. If you go to onscreenfilm.com, every week we have competitions going on our site. This week we're giving away Minion goggles for the release of Minions, which is next Friday. We're actually giving away Minion goggles. You see them in Toys R Us?
Yeah,
you know the kind
you got those.
They're like glasses.
Yeah,
with little light holes, and you can look like a minion.
I imagine there's like Jurassic Park goggles.
I really
love
Jurassic
those.
Also Universal have, strangely. Universal have a thing with goggles. But yeah, if you want to win a pair of Minion goggles, pop along to onscreenfilm.com. You can go in the competition section. It's on the front page, or you can actually go into the competition section. Enter on there. Minion goggles giveaway.
With the latest film news and reviews, this is Offscreen.
Welcome back to Off Screen. So next up on the docket, I think we're going to review... there's that film out, isn't there?
With the boys.
With the boys.
The boys.
On Entourage.
You love that, don't you?
I'm a big fan of that. It's my favourite thing since Pacific Rim was out and we got to use the boom every time.
Cool.
But Entourage is upon us. Right, how best to describe Entourage? Because this is really aimed at the fans. This is not aimed at anyone else. Right, how to describe Entourage? This is the fictionalised... It's a character based on Mark Wahlberg, on his early career exploits. Not his early life exploits, because you couldn't make a show out of that. This is the story of Vincent Chase, a successful Hollywood star, and his three friends, his manager E, his driver Turtle, and his failed actor brother Johnny Drama, and their exploits in Hollywood. At this point in their lives, having suffered a failed marriage that bridges the sort of TV show and the movie, Vince has returned to Hollywood to take on his first big comeback role, a movie called Hyde, which is a sort of sci-fi spin on Jekyll and Hyde, in which he's a DJ in what looks like Metallica Through the Never, if you can imagine such a thing.
Yeah. It was in the trailer, wasn't it?
It's in the trailer. It's actually in the
trailer,
trailer, yeah. And into this as well, you have the financiers of the film, played by Billy Bob Thornton and his on-screen son, Haley Joel Osment, who want to interfere with production and cause all sorts of production delays. Each character then has their own story, so E has two women fighting over him whilst his ex-girlfriend is pregnant and about to deliver his baby. You have Turtle, who really wants to sleep with Ronda Rousey, the UFC fighter. You have Ari Gold, who just finds his job a bit stressful.
He's just angry.
You have Johnny Drama, who may or may not have angered the husband of a cam girl, if you know what that is, in the porn sense, right. A cam girl, yeah. And then no, those are the story arcs. Those are literally the story arcs.
Are they arcs?
I
don't think that's an arc.
Let's play a clip, and then we'll get to what constitutes an arc in this film. Now, interesting thing, anyone who hears this clip now, this clip is 50 seconds long, and I want you to count the number of product placement drops, verbal product placement drops, in this 50-second clip.
Vinny, what's up?
Yeah, what's up, Mark?
I'm doing some looping for Ted 3.
3? How many of those are you gonna do?
I'll do 20 if I can. What's the matter? Your girlfriend lock you out of that anymore?
No, my co-financier.
You serious? Well, my boys will break down the door right now. He's crazy.
Vinny.
What's up, Ari? What kind of studio are you running around here?
Mark, hey, calm down.
Dude, I'm calm, but you better get excited. I mean, you want everybody around town thinking that this is how you treat your filmmakers.
Right? What's going on?
I am dealing with it.
Yeah, what E said, he's not gonna release any more money. Can he do that?
Ari.
He's got issues.
By the way, he doesn't like the movie?
It doesn't matter.
Tell him the truth. Don't be shy.
He doesn't like drama. He wants to cut him out. Johnny? Yeah.
I'm doing my reality show at Wahlburgers right now at A&E. If they try to cut out my mother, I'd kill somebody. Even if she sucked as bad as drama probably sucks. Hey, you guys know Reggie from Jordan, right? You guys want some shoes?
No, we're good, Mark.
There are 3 product placement drops in 50 seconds.
That's kind of impressive in a terrible consumerist way.
All delivered by Mark Wahlberg as well. Would you believe that? He manages to drop Ted 2, Wahlburgers, and Air Jordans into 50 seconds of a cameo.
I really want to go to Wahlburgers. I'd love to go next time in America.
Wahlburgers is A&E reality series that he's doing, as he says in the clip.
It's about the restaurant. It's a restaurant, isn't it? Him and his brother do.
I want to go now if it is.
Yeah,
definitely. Right, so
we're digressing anyway.
We are digressing. So, of course, the logical comparison point for this is Sex and the City, which was also an HBO series about a bunch of friends hanging out, and that became a movie that was fairly successful as well.
That begat a sequel.
That most of us would rather die than remember anytime soon. This has the opposite problem to Sex and the City, which is, quite frankly, it never took off in the UK. And so where's the audience for this? It's only going to appeal to fans anyway. Even people who know of the brand will only see the movie if they've seen the series. And the problem with the film is it does not work unless you're a fan of the series. It doesn't work as a self-contained film because, frankly, it isn't a film. There is no film in this. There is no conflict. There is no drama. There is no suspense. The closest thing the movie has to an antagonist is Haley Joel Osment's character, who is played in the most cartoonish way imaginable. And I've seen Tusk, so I'm very aware of what Haley Joel Osment can do if he puts his...
I've seen what he looks like now. He's not a very
deranged mind,
formidable-looking dude, really.
Not really. He reminds me an awful lot of... Who's the classic Warner Brothers animated rooster? He kind of physically reminds me of him. You know who I mean as well.
Oh, what's his name?
The Looney Tunes rooster.
Foghorn Leghorn.
Foghorn Leghorn.
That's it.
Kind of reminds me of Foghorn Leghorn.
Oh, I'm never going to be able to unsee that.
Right. I mean, it is a clear-cut case of one for the fans. The transition from HBO to the big screen manages to showcase the best and worst qualities more than ever before. Basically, the best quality of the series was always that it had this high-end, glossy, cinematic production style. And as a result, the transition to the big screen is relatively seamless. However, it's there, it's on the big screen, it's exposed for us all to see, and you realise that actually there really never was that much to the series. And it got by on sheer likability. It got by on sheer charm. However, that was at the rate of 20 minutes a week. I think if you asked people to sit and watch 2 hours a week, they may turn off. And I was one of the people who said when the series was going, why is this not a 45-minute episode show? Why is this 20 minutes? It would work better as it. I'm kind of glad. It's a case of be careful what you wish for, because it turns out a little bit of Entourage goes a long way. And yeah, this is best compared to not binge watching a series, but binge watching an event series. You know, the thing that sort of it seems to be all the rage now. You like 24 Live Another Day and stuff like that. Yeah. Event series, as they're called. We started doing it in the UK with things like Torchwood and stuff like that. We started doing like 5-episode stories.
Little event series. Yeah.
Little event series. That's what this feels like. And it's the exact runtime as well, if you did that with Entourage. And the problem is that because of that, it doesn't help that all the story arcs and all the character arcs within the film are 20 minutes long.
So it just feels like 5 episodes then.
Just a case in point, this isn't much of a spoiler because this is quite prominent in the trailer. There is a mention in the trailer of sex tape. So you think, okay, so one of the storylines in the movie is going to be that there's a sex tape of one of the characters. Right, that's Johnny Drama. So you think, okay, fair enough. Not really the best character to have that happen to because he's one of the least interesting. I mean, I'd be even less interested if it were Turtle, to be honest.
Surely it would make more sense to have that be about the Vince character, about the lead guy.
Exactly, yeah. This is not that movie.
Okay.
Right, that story arc with the sex tape, 20 minutes before the end of the movie.
Why?
And what? Really? 20 minutes for... That doesn't make... Okay, fair enough.
So you would think they would put it towards the end of the film because it's meant to be a big...
literally every character...
A big, almost
the
climactic.
movie comes in 20-minute waves, and I haven't seen a movie change traction this often since Thor: The Dark World. Because that was a movie that changed its plot every 20 minutes.
Yeah.
This is the same thing, but it's kind of understandable because you look at it and think, okay, this was quite clearly written with a TV series in mind. It's also terminally stuck in the past. The movie is set in 2011, right? Because it takes place 8 months after the end of the TV series, which finishes in 2011. Now, if you can get past the idea that everyone's walking around with the iPhone 6, driving the 2015 Cadillac, etc., if you can get past that, this is still meant to be. The problem is, and you'll know this as well as I do, you're sat wearing a Tomorrowland badge, so you will know this.
Proudly so, yeah.
You will know this as well as I do. The film industry in 2015 is a very, very different place to the film industry from 2011.
It is. We don't take chances anymore.
No, we don't. Tomorrowland case in point. The problem is the film has this... Not even 2011 sensibility, it has a 2005 sensibility. So from the very heyday of the TV series, it's stuck in 2005. A lot of the humour is very 2005. It's a lot of, let's just sit back and we'll make the same gay jokes we were making, post-millennium, and it'll still be perfect. Like, it's really not.
It barely flew by then.
Yeah,
to be honest,
it was always kind of great. For any character except Ari, it was always kind of grating even then.
Yeah.
Now, on a cinema screen, it feels like watching a Carry On movie, but without the irony.
Yeah. Would you feel that this movie would work better if it was more Ari-centric? If he was more like the central focus?
That's actually what I'm going to get to next.
Okay.
Because the film, because it doesn't focus primarily on the Ari character and it focuses on the boys. Now, in fairness, they are the title characters, so that's understandable. The problem is the boys are kind of detached from the film industry side of it, and as a result, there is no satirical edge to it whatsoever. It's a very, very toothless film. It has no nerve whatsoever. So rather than use the golden opportunity they have, which is, do you know what? Here's our chance. We're going to take shots at Marvel. We're going to take shots at shared universes, young adult franchises. We're going to do that.
So much has changed just since 2011.
Since 2011, yeah. And it's quite obvious this was written then. Very, very obvious, because you think, where are the gags about, another teenage vampire movie? Where's the gag about, every teenage movie has to involve factions and segregating society, and also there's a lot of comedic mileage. Vince stars in a superhero movie in this. And yet there is no talk whatsoever about, okay, you have to sign a 9-picture deal, you're going to have to appear in this other movie.
You can't work for this studio.
It's like they don't seem to want this to take place in any kind of a real world. And because it takes place in this ridiculous sort of fantasy version of Hollywood, and this is the construct of someone who reads way too much Entertainment Weekly. That's their version of Hollywood, basically. It seems to take place in this version where character development is something that happens between characters verbally when they are walking or driving between plot points. And that's it. So at the restaurant, that's a plot point. At Ari's office, that's another plot point.
It's a location, that's not a plot point.
The character development is them walking down Hollywood Boulevard in between those 2 points. You're like, really? This is what that's fine for 20 minutes a week on HBO. That's fine.
But not 20 minutes in a row on a big screen.
No. That is really the problem with it. In terms of the cast, you can't fault them because they've had a decade to do this now. They know those characters inside and out. The problem is not the cast, although in the case of Haley Joel Osment, he is quite a big problem.
Yeah, I can't see the resemblance between Bilbo Thornton and...
I can't whatsoever.
Is he adopted?
He is actually his son. Wow. I say Ari Gold, Jeremy Piven, still the best thing in the Entourage universe. If you're a fan of the series, Lloyd is very underused.
I've never seen any of the other cast members from Entourage, apart from Jeremy Piven, in anything else, I don't think.
Very weird thing.
I can't think what I've seen.
Jerry Ferrara, who plays Turtle, turns up in Eagle Eye. Kevin Connolly turns up in what was it? It was a little scene Denzel Washington hostage-taking movie called John Q.
Oh, I have seen that.
Adrian Grenier was in Drive Me Crazy with Melissa Joan Hart. And there's apparently
was that one of her straight to TV?
No, that actually got a theatrical release.
Really?
And Kevin Dillon was in Poseidon, if you can believe such a thing.
Did he get killed off as soon as a boat flipped over?
No, he didn't. He went on, I think, for about half an hour and then died.
Good innings.
So, he lasted longer than the Black Eyed Peas did in Poseidon, put it that way. And I know this because I watched on Now TV recently. Why, Wolfgang Peterson? Why? So, on an adaptation level, Entourage would have been better served by a 6 to 8 part event series, I think, rather than this binge watching experience, which is what you actually get. On a cinematic level, it's underwritten. It is a shallow display of post-millennial opulence, which has no place in 2015. It is so out of touch with the modern world, it's unreal. And really, it's Jeremy Piven's film to own, as Entourage was, as it always the case in the series. Yeah. It's nice to see the boys back. As a fan of the series, it is nice to see the boys, but I can't deny that. I'm very happy to see them back.
You could have done with just one episode, though, maybe, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, I feel like if you weren't going to do a series, do an event series.
Maybe not even an event series. Maybe we could have just done an extended episode.
Yeah.
Made a big deal about it.
1 hour episode could have been fine, and that's the problem. There is nothing here that you're not going to get. I mean, the Piers Morgan expositional cameo. Awful,
yeah, who is the best cameo and who is the worst cameo?
All the cameos are dreadful.
The combined worst.
They're so out of place. They're so jarring outside of the TV universe. I don't know. I mean, the Armie Hammer one is pretty mystifying.
I've seen a picture. Has he got a big old beard?
Yeah, because you can't help but wonder exactly how they got Armie Hammer to do it. The other one that mystifies me is David Spade, because I want to know who that was meant to appeal to. Whose version of a celebrity cameo is David Spade?
Fans of the upcoming classic Joe Dirt 2.
Actually, funnily enough, David Spade does lead me to my final thought on Entourage, which is, of all the probably the only TV series that would make less sense but actually would be more effective as a big screen outing than Entourage, would probably be Rules of Engagement. That's what I'd say. I actually think Rules of Engagement would make a better movie than Entourage did. And that, as a fan, that pains me to say.
I think it'd be weirdly more appealing. I think you'd get a lot more people to go see it.
So what have we got next? Oh, we've got the Box Office Top 10 next.
Box Office Top 10, let's do it.
Number 10.
Moving down, number 10, Tomorrowland, A World Beyond.
You were a fan of this?
As my badge.
As your badge proudly proclaims.
Yeah, proudly proclaims. Yes, I was a fan.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Number 9.
Moving down again, number 9. Those guys and gals from Avengers Age of Ultron, we've got nothing else to say about it.
I don't know what to say about it. It's a mid-season two-parter. It's not a finale, and the last one was a finale. These need to be finales. They are bookending
it's a bookend, yeah.
It should be a bookend. It's not. It's the
like
interim volume.
Yeah, it's like moving a chess piece.
Number 8.
Straight to number 8. We have Tom Hardy and is it Olivia Colman?
It's Olivia Colman. No, I've not
London
seen this.
Road.
I don't think you have either.
I've not. I would like to. I was reading a really good review, but I can't remember what it was. But yeah, I've heard some okay things about it.
Number 7.
Moving up, this is impressive.
Go on.
The Empire Strikes Back.
This is the secret cinema thing, The Empire Strikes Back. We will get there. We will get there eventually. We will see this. I think what can be said about The Empire Strikes Back, though, other than he's probably the greatest sequel of all time.
Yeah, well,
it's in the top 5. It's in the top 5.
That and Godfather Part 2, surely.
Aliens.
Oh,
Terminator 2.
We need to do an episode where it's just all about fantastic sequels.
I think we should one day. But yeah, Aliens, Terminator 2, Godfather 2.
I would like to go to Secret Cinema when they have Nicolas Cage, or maybe just Con Air experience.
God, they probably put you on a plane and chain you to the seat and make you watch.
You could probably get Danny Trejo actually there as well.
I don't imagine that'd be too difficult. Danny Trejo probably would willingly chain himself up in a cage and allow you to put Con Air on, I think.
Number 6.
Okay, moving down to number 6, Mad Max Fury Road.
Awesome, isn't it?
Fantastic.
It really is. Yeah. All practical effects, all fury, all fun. What's not to love Charlize Theron? What a goddess in this movie. Yeah. She's so good in it.
She's absolutely incredible.
I didn't know. I mean, when those reviews started coming out for Mad Max, because I think the international reviews came back a week before we got it.
Yeah.
And I think we were all somewhat taken aback by the reviews.
I think it all made us a little bit more kind of like excited for it.
Well, I don't know. If anything, I was kind of more confused, going like, "Really? Is that?" Because I thought this was a chase movie, but now this is the girls' movie.
Well, it was.
And then you go in, and it's all of those. It's all of those things. Yeah. It is the female empowerment movie, and a car chase movie, and a post-apocalyptic tribal warfare movie.
Fiery and grotesque, and just deliriously fun.
And it's got the Duffer in it. And what's not?
Doofer.
Is it Doofer?
I thought it was Doof.
Let's go with the Doof or Doofer.
Doof
This is
warrior.
the guitar-playing guy who
flamethrower guitarist.
Flamethrower guitarist riding a vehicle made of amps and speakers.
Yeah.
So
I mean, really, in that world, it completely makes sense because George Miller's reasoning for it is when people go to battle.
George Miller.
What did I say?
You're George Romero.
George Miller. I didn't mean to say George
Romero's Mad Max is something I'd love to see.
That'll be the next one.
That'll be the next
Get
one.
him involved as a producer.
Crossover.
But anyway,
George meets George. Mad Max of the Dead.
Let's do it. Oh man, somebody on YouTube, please make that.
Someone do this mashup.
Yeah, please do. George Miller. He said that his reason for it, you would have like people like battle drums and stuff.
Well, exactly. It makes complete sense in that context.
Yeah,
You're right.
It's excellent.
Number 5.
Non-mover. Number 5, Pitch Perfect 2.
You weren't a fan, were you?
I wasn't a fan.
No, I wasn't a fan either. I like the first one. The second one just it has nowhere near the heart, nowhere near the wit, nowhere near the humour, and yet we've got a third one to come. God help us.
Because it's done brilliant business.
Apparently it's done really well, so you know what? Get your sequel, but please make a bit more effort with the third one.
Number 4.
Insidious Chapter 3 is moving down to number 4.
Well, I liked it. I thought it was a decent standalone little supernatural chiller. Not too high concept, not too small concept. It is a haunted apartment style thriller. Yeah. Horror thriller. I liked it. I think Lee Whannell's directorial work on it is actually far more impressive than you'd expect of him. Although he has spent enough time in this genre to really make a good go, I think, by now. Because he's been in the horror genre for, 15 years?
Yeah, he's been in every one of his films.
He has been in every one, but I mean, it's been between 10 and 15 years he's been in the horror genre. So his directorial debut, in fact, is overdue, if anything else. It's pretty solid.
Number 3.
Oh, you love this one.
San Andreas.
So, who are we going to call? Everybody.
But now what will we do? We must rebuild.
It is great, isn't it? I think every movie should
American flags.
American flags, we must rebuild. And it's not really funny because you kind of know that that's the end of the movie.
Yeah, just leave your brains at home, people.
It's one of those movies. It's a movie that you actually watch and you think, do you know what? I can't wait for the Honest trailer for that one.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with someone saying that actually.
It is that kind of film. You think, God, the Honest trailer for this is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, but those guys are big friends with Rock, aren't we?
Yeah, well, he does a lot of stuff for Screen Junkies, but no, I like San Andreas quite. It's a good, fun, old school disaster movie. You know what? It's one of those just load up on popcorn, get the 2-for-1 hot dogs,
have a great time.
Yeah, just go in with the biggest frappuccino you can carry.
Yeah,
and just chill. Just chill. They got this, okay? They got this. just lay back in your seat, switch off. They got this covered. They got this. Rock's got this.
Number 2.
Moving down from number 1 to number 2, we have Melissa McCarthy film Spy,
which I liked. I know you liked it, but you didn't love it.
I wasn't in love with it. Statham was great. Peter Serafinowicz is definitely one of the weakest links of that particular film.
I think it's hard to disagree with that. And indeed, it's a shame because Peter Serafinowicz seems to keep doing this now, which is getting a bit annoying. Like Guardians,
just pop up in a small capacity.
It was kind of hammy in Guardians of the Galaxy, and he only had about 4 lines in that.
Yeah, despite being Nova Prime. Yeah,
exactly. Well,
no, he wasn't Nova Prime.
He was Nova Prime's sort of head guard.
Yeah.
He? But no, I liked it. I thought Jason Statham is fantastic in it. It's hard not to agree with that one. I like Paul Feig writing. Melissa McCarthy, very funny in it.
Number 1.
And straight in with a T-Rex. Number 1, Jurassic World.
How can you disparage Jurassic World? I think it is. We said it was the first truly great Jurassic Park sequel.
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought it was terrific. It's so much fun, and it does take you back to that sort of romping adventure survival thing of the first movie.
Yeah.
And
it's as good as we're going to get for a Jurassic Park sequel, I think.
So. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's the greatest movie ever, and there are people who are doing that very fashionable
people hate it.
thing.
Some people really just like, it's nothing like Jurassic Park. And of course it's not.
It's so bad. It's actually like, shut up. You know, it's not meant to be Citizen Kane, and it's not meant to be the original. It's a follow-on to the original. It's a reboot. You know, it's not ever good. No one's trying to replace the original.
I could pick flaws in it all day.
You could pick holes.
I would rather just think, oh wow, I had a great time.
I would rather just have fun with it and try not to focus on, Vincent D'Onofrio and his hey, how you doing? I'm Vince. I want to militarize raptors.
Yeah.
You want coffee? No, I want to militarize raptors. I'd rather you can pick things like that to pieces. But you know what? It's a Jurassic Park sequel with the first truly great one. Let it be.
Yeah.
Sit there, enjoy it, see it on the biggest screen imaginable. The end. So
well said.
So on to our final review of the week then.
Moving on, The Longest Ride.
The Longest Ride. So the latest from a Nicholas Sparks adaptation. And did you know this is based on his 17th romance novel? His 17th case.
In fact, the less I know about him, the better. Really.
Yeah, his 17th.
Wow. Does it differentiate from his natural pattern?
Right. When you hear the concept for this one,
just write a sci-fi novel or something. Just do something out of the box.
Right. This is the story of a mismatched couple. She's a spunky college girl from New Jersey living in North Carolina. Okay, fair enough. He is a rodeo bull rider in North Carolina. They become a couple on on one of their dates. They happen upon a car crashed at the side of the road in the rain, from which they rescue an injured Alan Alda. And with him a box full of letters which he's now too blind to read. He of course gets the young lady of the couple, played by Britt Robertson, the guy being played by Scott Eastwood. I say that again, Scott Eastwood. He gets Britt Robertson to read the letters to him, through which he relives his own relationship with the love of his life back in World War II era North Carolina, when he is played by Jack Houston and she is played by Una Chaplin. Here is a clip.
Right, the goal is pretty simple. All you gotta do is hang on for 8 seconds.
Wow, there's nothing to it.
Some bowls are nice like that.
So how do you know which one you're gonna get?
You don't. You pick from a bowl.
Whoa! Impossible!
If you're off balance even a little, you lose points. But if you control the bowl, you get style points.
that how you do the hand? That?
So Scott Eastwood and Britt Robertson there in what can only be described as a how-to-do bull riding montage. So
there's not enough of those.
There are not enough of those. It's not a montage you see an awful lot of. So on the one hand, you have bull riding, you have World War II, you have mismatched couple, you have North Carolina flannel shirts and lakes.
Got lakes.
It's got to the stage now where the concept for these Nicholas Sparks adaptations seems to be created entirely by randomly chucking darts at a wall full of post-it notes, each of which contains a different random concept or idea. And this is that. I mean, the funniest thing about it though is that it's not the worst Nicholas Sparks adaptation. In fact, it's one of the best. I would place as the second best below The Notebook, because actually it's kind of decently engaging, based entirely on how good the cast are. Alan Alda's terrific in this.
Well,
in that
he's
way
great. He's Alan Alda's.
It's an Alan Alda performance.
And I really like Britt Robertson.
I quite like. She's not doing Girl Next Door. She's doing Spiffy Girl from Down the Street.
Oh, okay.
Which is nice.
Quite the range.
It's a bit more range. Scott Eastwood is the most likeable lead that one of these movies has had since Gosling. I mean, that's the best thing I can say about it.
What else has he been in apart from being Clint Eastwood's son?
He briefly appears.
I know he's going to be Suicide Squad.
He briefly appears in Gran Torino. There's something else recently as well. I'm not sure. I'll have to look that one up. But he's really good. He has all this sort of square-jawed, all-American charm. He's like a federally approved Hemsworth. If you can imagine such a thing. Put it this way, he could not be any more of a sort of iconic American movie hunk if he actually took his flannel shirt off and had "Made in the USA" branded on his torso.
There's a flag tattooed on his chest.
He's got a flag with an eagle, tattooed across his forearm.
Bruce Springsteen with a machine gun.
Born in the USA. That kind of. But you know what? He's fine for it. On the negative side, George Tillman Jr., who directed Notorious and Faster with Dwayne Johnson. Yeah. He seems to be on TV movie mode here. It's very high definition filming, but in soft focus.
There we go.
Which always looks weird. Some of the early scenes set in the past, he's gone for this weird, patronising sepia tone look, which you're thinking, because we wouldn't have known it was set in the past. Otherwise, thanks for that. Yeah, the shorthand for this is in the past, FYI. Really? Not the fact that you're narrating it and telling us a story that isn't taking place. Never mind. Okay. The problem with it is you've got the World War II... not the World War II. So you've got the story of the young Alan Alda character, the Jack Huston character. You've got that relationship, and then you've got the present-day relationship. Both of which are fully fledged and perfectly fine movies in their own right. But they lead to this 2-hour-long film, which just feels long and overbloated.
A bit laborious.
And a bit too... Yeah, laborious. Yeah. That's the term to use. Aside from that, it's not hard to enjoy it, to be honest. You're not going to come out of it thinking, it's brilliant. But you know what? You'll come out of it thinking, it's perfectly fine. You might feel slightly shallower about yourself for doing so. But you know what?
It sounds like a very likeable cast, right?
But that's it. It's the cast. Yeah. And the cast make up for this weird, mystifying mishmash of completely disparate elements that are going on within it. Cast are all superb. There have been, and there will continue to be, worse romance tales out in theatres this year.
Probably connected to Nicholas Sparks.
But, you know what? In this particular case, if you absolutely must have one of these sloshy romance tales, why not just take Nicholas Sparks? You know what? Fine.
Okay.
So, film of the week. I think this week, I'm going to give it to Mr. Holmes.
Yeah, I thought you were going to. I mean...
It's kind of an easy
not a lot of competition, is it? bit of a low week.
Next week, though. Ooh.
I've got high hopes for next week.
Half of these we're not going to get released where we are anyway. So let's have a look at what's actually out next week. 51 Degrees North, that's a documentary. We've got Concrete Clouds, I know very little about that. We've got Everly, which is the Salma Hayek action film.
Of course, yeah.
We've got Everyone's Going to Die, which sounds like a very cheerful movie.
Very cheery.
We've got Going Clear, Scientology in the Prison of My Belief, which is a documentary about having emerged from Scientology. We've got Hippocrates, I know nothing of that. Hustlers Convention, which I really hope is what it describes.
Yeah.
The Keanu Reeves, Eli Roth tale, Knock Knock, is out next week.
Yeah.
That could be quite good.
It could be quite good, but it seems to have left for marketing very, very late. We've only just released a poster.
I only saw the trailer last week.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that's kind of interesting. Which kind of looks like funny games or hard candy.
I really enjoy funny games.
Yeah. Minions, of course, is out next week. We've got that to look forward to. And don't forget, go on our site, Minions Goggles to give away. We've also got The Overnight, With who is that? It's Adam Scott, isn't it?
Adam Scott, Taylor
Schilling from Orange is the New Black.
Jason Schwartzman. I'm going to be seeing it tomorrow.
You are. We've got She's Funny That Way with Jennifer Aniston and Owen Wilson. Slow West with Michael Fassbender.
Ben Mendelsohn,
Yeah. We've got Station to Station. I know very little of that. We've got That Sugar Film, which I'm hoping we get to see, which is the documentary about sugar.
Is it just called that?
It's called That Sugar Film, which is a documentary about the purveyance of sugar in modern marketing. And we've got documentary The Wrecking Crew as well. So
that's quite a lot of films.
Don't forget, check out the site for our competitions. More up-to-the-minute news, including the news we didn't get to on this show. So, this has been a Candy Storff production for On Screen. I've been Van Connor.
I've been Kase Allen.
And we'll be back next week.
See you then.
Just show me the way to get out of here, and I'll be on my way.
You've been listening to Offscreen. For more news and reviews, visit onscreenfilm.com.
Okay, cut. That's a wrap.
Boom! There you go.